White House National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster says North Korea is now, quote, the greatest immediate threat to the United States. This after the rogue regime last week test-launched a missile that U.S. officials say could reach Washington, D.C. Let's bring in former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Bill Richardson. He is also the former Energy Secretary under President Bill Clinton and former governor of New Mexico. Good to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Maria.
How serious is this threat? What can we be doing about it?
Well, it's very serious. The good news is that for 74 days or so, the North Koreans did not shoot a missile. Now, I think that was because of some diplomacy by the administration. But now, for some reason, they shot another more sophisticated missile. Look, it's a very serious situation. But what I think I like here is McMaster and Tillerson talking more diplomacy. Yes, they have to put out the word that this is unacceptable, what the North Koreans are doing. But then they're undermined by the president, you know, who goes out and says he's a sick puppy, Kim Jong-un. I don't like the president being insulted either. But, you know, this good diplomacy that maybe we're trying gets disrupted by the president's early morning tweets insulting each other. So it's escalation is not good. It's happening again.
What about the fact that we've got this enormous armada off of the Korean Peninsula sitting there, warships basically saying, look, America is here. Should you make a serious mistake, North Korea?
Well, that's fine. You know, I think we have to protect ourselves, the Japanese, the South Koreans. There's 25 million South Koreans there, American troops in Japan, dependents also in South Korea, troops in Japan. You know, it's a very strategically important area for us. But I think what we need to push, and I think the Secretary of State has been trying to do this, is a freeze for a freeze. In other words, North Korea cuts down on shooting missiles for a period of time, and maybe we reduce a little bit of this military cooperation with South Korea, just a little signals back and forth, get the two sides talking. Because I don't think a military option makes sense with the collateral damage. Yes, we would beat the North Koreans. Sanctions, I think, have gotten a little better. The Chinese are a little more serious, but not enough. So then I think the third option is diplomacy, especially in this time of escalation.
Well, what should we understand about this most recent missile test? I mean, the fact that it went as high as it went, shows you that it's really powerful, because the higher it goes, the more length it can, correct? It can travel.
That's right. 3,000, it went up 3,000 miles, and it can go 8,000 miles, which would reach Washington, D.C. Now, what the North Koreans, I don't think, have yet is the capacity to put a nuclear warhead on. Nonetheless, it's still a missile that threatens Guam, Hawaii, Alaska, you know, the continental United States. So their technology is evolving very rapidly. Now, in trying to be an optimist, I think Kim Jong-un, who is a rational actor, even though he's totally unpredictable, I think his game plan is, now that I have the capacity to hit the United States in some way, then I'm ready to negotiate. That's my hope. And this is why I think this period, we should take advantage of this period and not overreact.
Should China be doing more here? I mean, obviously, China is a trade partner to North Korea. Have they done enough in terms of cutting off certain important trade products that the North needs?
China has done more than they have in the past, significantly more, but not enough. They need to do two things: a total ban on oil imports. They refuse to do that. There's only a cap on that. But the key is enforcing the sanctions the UN has supported and China has supported. Coal, seafood, North Korean workers that live in China, 80% of the commerce going into North Korea comes from China. So if they enforce that cross-border smuggling that does exist, in other words, work to do this a lot more, it would be significant. But, you know, to those that say China has not done anything, that's
Right.
not true.
Yeah.
And I give credit to the administration. They've pushed China in the right direction, but it's still not enough. So I think the best option is, again, diplomacy. Work something out short term and then talk about the future, denuclearize the peninsula. It's going to be hard, but at least we should try.
Governor, it's good to have you on the program. As always,
All right.
wonderful insights from you. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Bill Richardson joining us there.